Hello, I'm Catherine Henry. Things are crazy here in Michigan right now, and people have pretty strong opinions on all sides of the issue. So this video is to those of you who are either wholeheartedly believing in everything that Gretchen Whitmer says in each of her press conferences, or those of you who are just not quite sure you want to oppose her yet. I mean, she is the governor, right? So I'm asking you to seriously consider the statements that are made in these press conferences. Let's look at the three that she put in today's press conference. Her three main claims of today's press conference are that her experts have told her that containment and mitigation are necessary. So in other words, these stay-at-home orders are necessary. So let's look at that one first. She introduced her epidemiologists, these experts in the field, and they explained that they've been doing this modeling to show what it's going to look like in Michigan if the stay-at-home orders are set aside and people are allowed to go back to their lives. She stated that if we take 2 weeks from May 1st to re-engage in the community incrementally and get to the point where we are fully engaged in both our economy and our communities, then by the end of that 2 weeks, the modeling shows that the results have a wide range of outcomes possible. Everything from no more new cases to this mass spread of the virus. She also stated that these models are merely hypotheses, and they are not clear predictions of how our behavior or the restrictions upon our behavior would affect the virus. We simply cannot infringe on our constitutional liberties based on inconclusive models, incomplete data, or hypothesizing. But let's look at the second claim that she made today. As compared to other states without stay-at-home orders, Michigan is doing better, she claimed. She claims these other states have far more COVID-19 deaths than Michigan does. Well, I published a paper on Facebook, on my website, on this last Friday, April 17th. And the data I cite in that paper is from April 15th. But for the purposes of this video, I looked up the data today, just a few minutes ago. So let's look at Michigan, which obviously we have a lockdown order. And then let's compare that to the information from Alabama, Arkansas, Iowa, Nebraska, North Dakota, South Dakota, and Utah. All of those states, or none of those states, have stay-at-home orders. Total COVID-19 deaths for Michigan far outpace those other states. 2,813. Alabama, only 194. Arkansas, 43. Iowa, 90. Nebraska, 38. North Dakota, 14. South Dakota, 9. And Utah, 34. Well, we have a higher population than most of those other states, you're saying. Well, that's true. So let's look at the COVID-19 deaths per 1 million residents. So apples to apples comparison. Michigan has had 283 deaths per million residents. Alabama has only had 40 deaths per 1 million residents. Arkansas has had 14 deaths per 1 million residents. Iowa has had 29 deaths per 1 million residents. Nebraska, 20 deaths per 1 million residents. North Dakota, 19 deaths per 1 million residents. South Dakota, 10 deaths per 1 million residents. And Utah, 11 deaths per 1 million residents. So I realize that you're just hearing numbers, you're not seeing the information as I have in front of me. Let's just hear those numbers all together, okay? Michigan, per 1 million, so this is apples to apples comparison, accounting for the population differences between the states. Michigan has 283 deaths per million people. The other states, 40, 14, 29, 20, 19, 10, 11. I didn't really add all those together, but it occurred to me just now, you probably could add all of those together and it still wouldn't total what Michigan has. So maybe, how about the point that she was making that the stay-at-home orders are making strides and we're seeing differences now. So maybe we had higher numbers earlier, but we don't have the high infection rate now because of these stay-at-home orders. Well, let's look at what the data was a whole week ago on the 15th. The number of deaths per 1 million residents, Michigan had at that time 178. Alabama had 24. Arkansas had 11. Iowa had 16. Nebraska had 11. North Dakota had 12. South Dakota had 7. And Utah had 6. So again, you could add all those numbers up and it still would not equal the amount of deaths we are having in Michigan per 1 million residents. The numbers as of April 5th, so 10 days prior to that, show the same exact pattern. So clearly, as compared to other states, the states without stay-at-home orders, Michigan is not doing any better. It's doing far, far worse. It was doing worse at the beginning, and it's doing worse now. So then she claims, her third main claim here, is that our numbers show that what we are doing by using these stay-at-home orders, that it's working. Well, let's look at the numbers. What do they say? And this chart is also in the publication I put out on Friday. So if you want more ready access, if you want something to print off and hold in your hands or view on your computer screen, by all means, click on the PDF that I have there and you can see all this data and you can see the sources for this data, which this particular data we've been talking about stems from the numbers from the CDC as well as the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. So if we're looking at the data of daily new coronavirus cases in Michigan, so not the total number, but the new number of cases per day, we see that, and remember, March 16th was the first day that children were supposed to go to school that she ordered they would not go to school. So in the evening on Thursday, March 12th, she issued the order that schools would be closed starting March 16th. So just a few days after that, on March 19th, right at that peak incubation period, we see that first huge spike in cases in Michigan. So we'd been going along pretty low on our numbers, and then all of a sudden we shot up. Then we're pretty consistent that whole week. And then we come to March 24th when she issued the March 23rd, she issued the first stay-at-home order. And that went into effect on March 24th. What do you know? We have our next spike. Well, then the numbers are going along and we have a little bit of increase. But when do we see our third spike in numbers? That third spike in numbers comes when she issues the extended and expanded declaration of emergency and disaster. So just looking at the numbers, I mean, according to her, the numbers show that what we're doing with these orders is working. I think if you look at the numbers, and I have the graph right on my document that I published, so you can go ahead and check it out. It's on page 22. It shows, the numbers clearly show that there is a spike associated with each order that is shutting down our movement within society. So The video is probably long enough as it is. I just want you to consider those 3 points, those 3 key points that she brought up in her press conference today. Like I mentioned, if you want to reference that paper that I wrote, it's available on my website, which is khenry4mi.com. It's available right on my Facebook page where you're viewing this video now. It's a post that's available to the public, so anyone can grab it. Take a look, download it, look at the graphics, look at the information in there. Some of you are probably wondering, though, why? Why would this containment and mitigation not work? We've been told that it will work. Well, I've been talking to the experts. I've been looking at this and researching it, and there are several reasons why it won't work, and I'll do another video on that very soon. In that video, I'm also going to be talking about what can work. What can we do to successfully combat COVID-19? I'm not going to say that there is no COVID-19, that there are not people dying from this. I think there are people dying from this. But we need to really look at the facts, because if we don't have the facts, if we don't actually look at the data that's there, if we just listen to somebody else summarize it for us, then we're never going to be able to get to the point of really finding a solution that'll work. So thank you for watching all the way through, and hopefully you'll check out my next video.